Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with another ECW pay per view review. And now next up, here I am with a review for ECW November to Remember 2000. So getting towards the end of the original ECW pay per views. Yeah, after this one, there's only two more left. Yeah, and I've been talking about how like as I'm going through like these pay per views from 2000, how I'm really hoping that as I'm continuing to go through them, that these really are not signs of ECW's uh downfall continuing. Yeah. So yeah, and as I've watched these 2000 pay per views so far, it didn't appear that that seemed to be the case because it looked like they were still like putting out like relatively decent shows. Oh yeah, the only one that really like what looked like pretty that was like a really bad show was Living Dangerously, but the other ones seemed to like be doing just fine. So I was really hoping that that would really be the case as I watched this show. And how did it turn out? Well, to be quite honest, this really was not a very good show. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as bad as Living Dangerously, but yeah, this still was not very good. I mean, there really just like was not really anything that fascinating really happened on this show. Everything on the show for the most part is a pretty forgettable. Like none of the matches really do stand out. There was some stuff on here that was really bad, and yeah, and really just there was only like a one really good match on the show, and everything else really just is like ranges from mediocre to just being terrible. Yeah, and the main event especially I felt was like a pretty big disappointment. So that is like really like how the show really does come off. So not a very good show, to be honest. And yeah, and I, to be quite honest, was like pretty bored watching the show. Like yeah, there was just like as I was watching this, I just really wasn't really enjoying it. Like I was just like pretty bored watching it. So a pretty boring show, and yeah, there's not really anything on here except for one match that really is worth watching. Yeah, so that really is like the best way to really describe the show, I think. So yeah, all right. So I guess I'll just start talking about the show. All right. So the show opened up with Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger interrupted the introduction of the event from Joey Styles and Joel Gertner. Yeah, but yeah, then as they were talking about like how they were responsible for ending Tommy Dreamer's career, eventually then Tommy Dreamer then came out. How? But then yeah, then C.W. Anderson then attacked Tommy Dreamer. But then yeah, then the Backstreet Boys then came out and made the save. Yeah, then this led to a impromptu match once again between the Backstreet Boys against Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger. So I really don't know like what the deal really is with ECW constantly opening up the pay per views with like impromptu matches like this, especially like tag team matches, because I've seen it quite a lot so far. Like if you've watched like the pay per views from ECW that I've reviewed so far, yeah, you've noticed that there have been like quite a few impromptu tag team matches that have opened up the show. So I really don't know like what ECW's obsession really was with like always having, well, not always, but having these open the shows like on like eh, like so often. So I don't know what the issue is there. Yeah. As far as the match goes, I mean, it was an okay match. It did just like go back and forth between both teams. It only went on for like 5 minutes. Yeah. Nothing really memorable happened, but yeah, it was solid back and forth in ring action between both guys. Yeah. Then yeah, it went on for 5 minutes. Yeah. Then eventually uh C.W. Anderson then hit a Anderson spinebuster on a Simon Diamond, and then and uh um then a problem solver was then delivered to Christian York. Then eventually he Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger were then able to get the win. Yeah, then like as after the match, then CW Anderson, Simon Diamond, and Johnny Swinger were then like continuing to beat down the Bad Street Boys. Yeah, but then Kid Cash came out and made a save. Yeah, then we had another impromptu match between CW Anderson and Kid Cash. Yeah. So back to back impromptu matches. So really, just like, why does ECW like do this? Why do they like just have like impromptu matches on like so many pay per views? I really don't know. Yeah, but yeah, this match was actually a nice match. This match lasted a little while. This match lasted like 10 minutes. Had some good back and forth action between Kid Cash and CW Anderson. Not really anything memorable about it, but yeah, it was like a solid back and forth action between them. Like I did find myself enjoying it enough. But and it went back and forth. Yeah, then eventually Kid Cash had a tornado DDT on CW Anderson and pinned him. So Kid Cash got the win. So I did actually find myself enjoying that match. Actually, like it wasn't very memorable, but it was entertaining for what it was. So I guess I would give that match like 3 stars. Yeah, yeah. And then next up, it was scheduled to be a 3-on-2 handicap match. It was Danny Doring and Roadkill versus a Hot Commodity, which consisted of Chris Hamrick, Julio De Niro, and Easy Money. Yeah. And as the match like started off, it was just like Hot Commodity, really having the upper hand over Danny Doring and Roadkill with strength and numbers and everything. Yeah, but yeah, a couple of minutes in the match, then Spike Dudley then came out and then just joined the match to make it a 6-man tag match. Yeah. And this match really was not anything that special at all. This match only lasted about 8 minutes. It was just the 6 guys really just fighting amongst each other, and yeah, it really wasn't anything that spectacular at all. It was just kind of a substandard 6-man tag match. Yeah, then eventually uh Spike Dudley and Roadkill delivered a buggy bang on Chris Hamrick, and then Spike Dudley hit a Dudley dog on Chris Hamrick and pinned him. So Spike, Danny Doring, and Roadkill won the match. So not really anything special about that match at all. I would give that 2 stars. Yeah. Then next up, then we had Nova versus Chris Chetti in a loser leaves town match. Yeah, and by that, what that meant was the loser of the match would end up leaving ECW. Yeah, and this was okay, but yeah, this really could have been better. Given how good Nova and Chris Chetti really have been, in the matches where they've been tag team partners that I've talked about already. You would probably really expect this to really be better. Yeah, but yeah, this just turned out being kind of an okay match. It did go back and forth between the 2 guys. Yeah. You had a Louis Dangerously who was at ringside with Chris Chetti, trying to get involved constantly throughout the match. Yeah, he had some usage of a steel chair in the match. Yeah, and yeah, it did just kind of go back and forth. It was all right, but yeah, like I said, you really would have expected better from this. Then it looked like it may have been over when Louis Dangerously nailed a Nova with his cell phone, but he survived it. Then eventually it then ended when Nova delivered a kryptonite crunch from the top turnbuckle to Chris Chetti and pinned him. So Nova won, and yeah, Chris Chetti then had to leave ECW due to this loss. So like I said, this was an okay match, but yeah, this really could have been better, and I think this was one of the disappointments of the night. So I guess I would give that match 2.5 stars. Yeah. Then after this, then next up we had the Baldies, which were Angel and Tony DeVito versus Balls Mahoney and Chili Willy in a flaming tables match. Oh man, and yeah, this was awful. Yeah, the stipulation for the match was you had to drive one of the opponents through a table that was set on fire to win the match. Yeah, and yeah, this match was just awful. This was boring. It was just like the two teams really just fighting for like 12 minutes, and there was like a in that 12 minutes, there was like no attempt to even like drive somebody through a flaming table throughout the match. Like, wouldn't you have expected like the guys to like constantly be trying to set tables on fire to drive one of their opponents through the tables? But that didn't happen in this match. It didn't happen until the end when they actually did it. So yeah, so I just don't know like the what the deal was with the booking for this match. Like, I mean, even if you just wanted to like keep it to like just a regular table match, like that would have been fine. It would have, it would have made more sense than like doing this. So yeah, and this was just like really bad and boring. Yeah, it was just the two teams just fighting it out for like 12 minutes. Like you had like weapon use in the match, but it really wasn't like doing anything. Like there was like the weapon spots really were not very memorable. And yeah, and it was just like the two teams like fighting for like 12 minutes. But yeah, it was very boring in ring action between the two teams. So yeah, so just the booking for this was just awful. Awful, like boring action and like no attempts to even like try to drive somebody through a flaming table until the end. Yeah, so it was awful. Yeah, and then it ended when Balls Mahoney and Chili Willy like set a table on fire, and then a powerbomb Angel through it, and they got the win. So yeah, so yeah, this was just like an awful, boring match, and yeah, just very dumb stipulation to be honest, especially since they really didn't even attempt to do anything with it until the end of it. So yeah, so yeah, awful match right there. So I give that like 1 star. Yeah. Then next up, then you had the ECW television title on the line with Rhino defending against New Jack. I've already ripped it to death about New Jack, how I don't like him, and I'm just like do not enjoy his style of matches. So yeah, so that should really tell you like how I really felt about this match. Yeah, did not like this. Like yeah, the it was just a boring match, and yeah, was not into it at all. Well, even with like with all the weapon use, like yeah, was not getting into this at all. Was bored with it, did not like it, and yeah, then Rhino then got the win. So yeah, so Rhino retained the title. So yeah, this was awful. Don't like New Jack, and I really hope I don't have to see him anymore in ECW. I really hope with these last two original ECW pay per views that I've got left that I don't have to see New Jack compete on them. So yeah, did not like this at all. Dud. Yeah. Then next up, then you have the ECW Tag Team Championship on the line. It was the FBI, which were Little Guido and Tony Mamaluke, scheduled to defend against the Unholy Alliance, which were Mikey Whipwreck and Yoshihiro Tajiri. And this actually was a pretty good match right here. This was definitely the best match of the night. Yeah, it started off with like the two teams really just like going at it with each other. Yeah, but then early on in the match, after Mikey Whipwreck like delivered a double whippersnapper to both members of the FBI, he like ended up getting hurt. I think he like injured his shoulder or something. Yeah. So then with Mikey Whipwreck hurt, like he got like stretchered, hurt away. Okay, so Tajiri looked like he was like gonna have to do this match by himself. It looked like it was going to turn into a 2-on-1 handicap match. Yeah. Then as Tajiri was then like going out with the FBI by himself for a couple minutes, eventually then Super Crazy then came out and filled in for Mikey Whipwreck as Tajiri's tag team partner. And like I said, this was a pretty good match between the two teams. Like, you had like a lot of double team moves in the match. Like, Tajiri and Super Crazy did like very well in the match. Like I was talking about before. Like, with yeah, like this really was just like the traditional style of match for like guys like Super Crazy and Tajiri and even Little Guido. So yeah, so that should kind of like give you an idea like how this match really was. Yeah, this was a nice, entertaining tag match. Like yeah, both teams really did look good in the match. Like there were some high flying moves, some like nice power bombs from Super Crazy in the match. Yeah, yeah, and it really did just like go back and forth between two teams. Yeah, then eventually Big Sal then tried to get involved. Yeah, then Super Crazy went after Big Sal, and then they were like fighting through the crowd. Then yeah, then at one point then Super Crazy then delivered a moonsault from one of the barriers down to the floor onto Big Sal. So yeah, so that was kind of a cool moment. Yeah, then as Tajiri then like was in the ring with Mama Luke and Little Guido. As Tajiri then hit well, then got uh, Mama Luke in the tarantula. Then, yeah, then, like, they, Little Guido and Tony Mama Luke, who then were able to, like, get out of it. Then, yeah, then, Little Guido then hit a bulldog onto Jerry and then was able to pin him. So, yeah, so the FBI ended up retaining the tag team titles. So yeah, so that overall was like a pretty good match right there. This was definitely the best match of the night. Yeah, and I do think that they did well with like putting Super Crazy in the match because I'm sure like Mikey Whipwreck getting hurt was not like supposed to happen. So yeah, so they did a nice job of really like putting Super Crazy in the match and really working the match off like that. So it was overall a nice, entertaining tag team match. Yeah, and plus, yeah, Super Crazy's moonsault in from the crowd was a pretty cool moment as well. So yeah, really good match right there. Definitely best match of the show. I would give that probably 3.5 stars. Yeah. And then we got the main event. It was for the ECW World Championship. It was a Steve Corino defending against Jerry Lynn. Well, no, it was a Jerry Lynn. Yeah, Jerry Lynn was the champion. Jerry Lynn was defending against Steve Corino, Just Incredible, and the Sandman. Yeah, and they like had this match be like they called it a double Jeopardy match. Now, how that worked was like apparently like they were like marketing it as like two separate matches going on like at once. It was like a it was to Jerry Lynn and I believe it was Steve Corino. Oh, or was it the Sandman? Yeah, it was like a yeah like a Jerry Lynn and I think it was Steve Corino in one match. Yeah, then Just Incredible and the Sandman in another. Though I may be wrong on this. It might be like a Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible with and then Sandman against Steve Corino. Yeah, it may have been like one of those. Yeah, forgot exactly like who was fighting each other. Yeah, but yeah, with those two matches going on, like only one guy, like that guy in the two matches, you could only eliminate like the guy that you're like supposed to face in like this like in these like two separate matches. Then after like the the two are eliminated that like the other guy is facing, then the last two will then face off against each other. So yeah, so it was kind of like confusing kind of a format for this match. I really don't understand like why they booked it like this. Like why couldn't they have just made this like a normal four-way dance? So yeah, so I really don't understand. Yeah, but this match this was honestly like a pretty disappointing match, to be honest. I mean, wouldn't you have thought like with the four guys that we got in this match, like this actually could have been like a really good to great match? But this just turned out being a pretty big disappointment, even for Jerry Lynn. Like I've said before, like how great Jerry Lynn has been, but yeah, this still like even he couldn't save this match. Like yeah, this was a pretty disappointing match. Like because like in this match, like you had like two guys like fighting in the ring, and then the other two guys were like fighting on the outside of the ring, and so you couldn't even really like see what was going on. This is kind of similar to what I was talking about with the War Games 2000 match, how like you really couldn't keep track of what was going on. Yeah, it was kind of the same thing here. Like you really couldn't even like see like what was going on between two guys because the camera was only focusing on the other two guys. So yeah, so couldn't even see like a lot of the action throughout this match. Yeah, And the match went on for like 25 minutes, but yeah, it just was not interesting. Like, it was like just a pretty big bore, and you really couldn't even see what was going on. So yeah, so that was a pretty big disappointment. Then eventually both Sandman and Jerry Lynn got eliminated simultaneously after Just Incredible delivered a That's Incredible to Jerry Lynn. Steve Corino hitting an old school expulsion on Sandman, and they and uh Just Incredible and Steve Corino pinned both of them at the same time. So yeah, so they got eliminated together. So like, what was up with that? I mean, my only guess is because like they could only eliminate one guy. They probably didn't want like an awkward moment with like just one of them just like standing around watching the action going on between the other two guys. So that was my take on it. But yeah, still just it didn't really like it wasn't really a good thing to do here. Then it was then down to Steve Corino and Just Incredible guaranteeing a new ECW champion since Jerry Lynn was eliminated here. Then you had like a Don Marie who was in Steve Corino's corner, turning on him by giving him a low blow. Oh, as well as Jack Victory, who was also at ringside with Steve Corino. Then as a Just Incredible then hit Steve Corino with a kendo stick. Steve Corino was able to survive it. Then Steve Corino eventually then hit a old school kick on a Just Incredible, and then he pinned him. So it just ended kind of abruptly. And Steve Corino won the ECW World Championship. So like I said, this match lasted like 25 minutes, but it was pretty boring. So yeah, and plus that ending was just like so abrupt, like it just came out of nowhere. And why? And Steve Corino winning, just I mean, well, why? Just I wasn't a fan of Steve Corino even winning here. It didn't really make a lot of sense, and nothing really came out of it. So like I said, this was just like a really disappointing match. I mean, you really would have thought like this could have been like really good to great given like the talent that you had in this match. But yeah, it was just a very big disappointment. So I give that match I give that like 2 stars. Yeah. So overall with the show, I guess I would give it like a 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, this show this was not a good show. Like, it was just like very boring. Not really anything happened, and plus some pretty big disappointments on the show with like the Nova and Chris Chetti match and the main event. And even like the rest of the show really wasn't very good either, except for the tag title match. So yeah, that's really the only actual really good match on the show. Everything else is just like very forgettable. So this is another show that I really do think this is like just a show you can skip, because if you do watch it, you're probably going to end up being very disappointed like I was with it. So really just a pretty disappointing show and not really worth checking out. So I don't really recommend watching it. All right, so I guess this is the best way I can put it. All right, so I guess this is all I really have to say about it. All right, so that's it for my review of ECW November to Remember 2000. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review, and hopefully with the last two original ECW pay-per-views I'm going to be talking about, hopefully they'll be like a solid shows. But I'm just gonna have to see like how they actually do turn out. But hopefully they'll turn out to be solid shows. All right, but I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.